The Tipping Point with Mike Tipton is brought to you by Dubby. What is Dubby? Dubby is a clean energy drink that is made to give you focus with no crash, jitters, or angst like those other energy drinks have. They also have no maltodextrin fillers and don't use artificial dyes. Dubby contains vitamins, amino acids, a nootropic, and 150 milligrams of caffeine. W's products are made in the USA in an FDA inspected facility that strictly adheres to GMP manufacturing guidelines. All of the flavors are unique and custom made by W, and you'll never taste our taste anywhere else. The best part about it is they're affordable. W's drinks come out to about $1 per drink, much cheaper than Starbucks or any of those canned energy drinks. To learn more, visit w.gg.com/discount/MRTipton33 and place your order today. Use promo code MrTipton33 and save today. W Energy, be better. What's going on, everybody? I want to tell you about my new friends over at Cleverman. Visit them online at becleverman.com. What they gave me was the energizing face and beard scrub along with the Cleverman face scrubber. And trust me when I say this, the energizing face and beard scrub smells amazing. Combining it with the face scrubber, making sure that your boy was looking as good and sexy as possible, opened up a whole different sensation in my face that I haven't ever felt before. I felt so clean, so fresh, and so clean, like Outcast said, and it helped me feel like I was ready for my day. Make sure you visit them online at becleverman.com and follow them on Instagram at clevermannyc. The link is up in my bio if you want to check out all the amazing products they have. Visit them online, becleverman.com. It is time for the Tipping Point with Mike Tipton, hanging out with you here on a Monday morning. Shout out to our guy, Tommy Carranza, who tuned in over on YouTube. Remember, we are live on YouTube, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and, of course, on Roku with our friends over at National Streaming Sports. Check out National Streaming Sports, all they have to offer throughout the day. Obviously, in a couple of hours after this show, we'll have Coast to Coast with our guy, Bo Crouch, who is always covering some amazing news and stories and things like that are going on in the world of sports. Sorry, y'all, just messing with some things right here. And then, of course, every morning you have the Mac and Jack show. Sonia Pearson taking over the duties on that show as well, along with Keith Angles, TGI Sports. Our guy, Tommy Carranza, commenting already saying, good morning, Tip. Happy Father's Day, bro. A happy belated Father's Day to all the dads out there. Hopefully you got to have yourself a fun time, a good time yesterday, a restful time. It was one of those weird days in El Paso because it started off beautifully. Obviously hotter than hell because it's El Paso and it's always hotter than hell here in El Paso, but beautiful day. And then out of nowhere, just the sandiest of sandstorms and haboob showing up out of nowhere here in El Paso to wreck everybody's Father's Day. There's a video on Instagram on a page called FitFam, and they show everyone out there having a good old time, right? They show the pool nice and clear, and then the cutaway, that exact same pool and angle, just covered in dust because it's El Paso and it got dusty on Father's Day. But nonetheless, I hope all of the dads out there had themselves a great Father's Day. Augustine saying, whose boob? Wouldn't that be better for Father's Day? LOL. Yes, it would. Yes, it would. Any boob, except for a haboob, would be great for Father's Day. I also want to give a shout out real quick to our friends over at the Buzzed Podcast. On Saturday, I was out at the Soggy Pestle. You can still kind of hear it in my voice. All the growling, introducing people into the crowd, into the ring. All that still you can hear in my voice. Shout out to them. The Brew Battle Pillow Fight. It was an absolute fun time out there at the Soggy Peso. Absolutely amazing time. Andy's Adventures, a bunch of podcasters and different people like that all came together to raise money for the Jazz Exchange here in El Paso. We were able to collectively raise over $2,300 for the Jazz Exchange here in El Paso. So shout out to our friends over at the Buzz Podcast, Andy's Adventures, all of the different people that participated in the Nation of Wrestling, and of course CFC, everybody like that. Tommy Kanata saying, I walked into Walmart and it was hot as hell, but by the time I came out 30 minutes later, sand was flying everywhere. Augustine saying, the pillow fights, LOL, were your eyes careful again? LOL. Of course they are. I got to keep my eyes on all the action that's going on in the ring as the pillow fights are happening over at the Soggy Peso. It's always a fun time out there. Great atmosphere. It was only the second time I've been out to the Soggy Peso, and to me, it was one of the more cool venues that I had been in quite some time. Loved the time out there at the Soggy Peso. But once again, that was great. I hope everyone had a great weekend as well. Shout out to Amanda Mata, who kept just giving me beer after beer after beer. I'm trying to get through this thing sober, and she's like, here's a Dos Equis. Here's another Dos Equis. Here's one more Dos Equis. It felt like she was Oprah of Dos Equis, just handing out beer after beer after beer. I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to turn it down. So shout out to you, Amanda, for making sure that your boy was nice and hydrated out there in all that heat on Saturday evening. Shout out to Richie Rich D, who joined over in on Instagram. Augustine saying she wants to get you drunk tip, LOL. Drunk tip is everyone's favorite tip. Pause? Do we pause on that one? Is that where we would pause? And no, Augustine, she didn't. Okay. A lot of stuff going on in the world of sports. Obviously, U.S. soccer finally gets a win yesterday. Shohei Ohtani is going to be pitching today for the first time in 21 months. The NBA finals are underway. The Stanley Cup final is underway. Richie saying, first-time commenter, we appreciate you over here at the Sun Bowl Association. I appreciate that as well, Richie, for you being a first-time commenter. We're doing all we can, and we will continue to do all we can to help out the Sun Bowl Association, everything like that. I'm looking forward to all the different events that are going to be coming up here in the future as well. Augustine saying, don't let Ohtani pitch. So that's where we're going to start. We're going to start with Shohei Ohtani. Augustine saying, don't let him pitch. Don't let him do it. 3 exclamation points. He doesn't want to see Ohtani out there. Again, Shohei is going to be out there for the first time in 21 months, almost 2 years, to go out there and pitch after having Tommy John surgery for the second time. For the second time. Shohei Ohtani, there's a difference between wanting to do it and needing to do it. Right? Whenever you look at the LA Dodgers right now, they're still in first place. They're still one of the best teams in baseball, but they have 14 pitchers on their IL right now. They have 0 depth in their pitching rotation right now. Let me get some of the names that are right here that are on the IL right now for the LA Dodgers. You got Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow, Roki Sasaki, and Tommy Gonsolin. 4 starters right there that you have on the IL, on the injured list, that aren't going to be able to pitch for quite some time. If I'm not mistaken, I think Glasnow and Blake Snell just got pushed off to another 60 days. 2 months that you're not going to be able to have those guys. You have to find some sort of pitching somewhere. And if you have Shohei Ohtani there, the fact that he takes up 2 different positions, the fact that he's able to be a multiple position kind of guy for you, that he takes up 2 roster spots as just one guy, the fact that you can get that out of him, that's what's enticing right here, right? I don't like it, though. If I'm a Dodgers fan, I'm terrified because I agree with with Augustine right here. Why would you let a certified Hall of Famer pitch if he doesn't have to? Doesn't matter how many they have on the IL. You don't let a Ohtani pitch after a second Tommy John. It's just stupid. All the pressure that he's going to wind up having on that right elbow of his. And they're going to talk about it. Oh, he pitched great in these simulated games against AA players or single A players or whoever it was that he was pitching against in these simulated games, not real games. He had amazing control. I don't think the issue is going to be control or whether or not Shohei Ohtani can strike out a single A baseball player. It's what are you going to do with that shoulder? What are you going to do with that elbow? Having to have his UCL repaired a second time in his career. I get the mystique of it. You paid this man $700 million to be a two-way player for you. You expect him to come in and be a two-way player for you. But it just feels like they're pushing it. Like you're tempting fate right now, LA Dodgers. You really are tempting fate right now. Because if this doesn't work out for you, you lose Shohei Ohtani. Best case scenario, he pitches a couple of games here and there. Like is the juice really worth the squeeze when it comes to what you can get out of pitching from Shohei Ohtani versus the potential of having that bat, the MVP, out of commission? Richie saying, lucky for LA, they can buy another Japanese golden arm anytime they want. That's the thing with them, right? They've got, man, they have found a way. And it's funny coming from me because if you know anything about me, I'm a Yankees fan. So it's funny coming from me whenever I say they found a way to do what the Yankees did in the early 2000s, right? We're just open up the checkbook and we will write a check and it'll go to anybody. Whoever the heck we need to be a pitcher for us, we'll find ourselves that pitcher. But I also feel like that window is going to be closing for the LA Dodgers right now. Like, you don't want to be paying $300 million in payroll plus and not win championships. And I don't see them as a championship winning team. Yes, they won. They're the defending world champion, beating my New York Yankees, right? Maybe that's where I am with this team. But yesterday, after San Francisco gets Rafael Devers, I feel like that gap is going to close a little bit. The NL West is so close. So close. You have the Dodgers, the Padres, the Diamondbacks, and the Giants, all of them within striking distance of one another. Colorado, way the hell out. We don't even have to worry about them. Colorado, way the heck out there. And Richie, you're right. They've got a ton of money. They can just go out and spend a lot of money. I wouldn't be surprised if we wind up seeing the Dodgers try to work out some trade where they get like one of the best pitchers in baseball simply taking over the deal and giving like cash, just straight cold hard cash. Here's $500 million for this pitcher. You can use that in salary cap for the next couple of years. Like you do that to like Miami, right? Like that's what you would go after, is you would go after the Miamis of the world. Maybe you get Sandy Alcantara to be your pitcher. I also think I messed up his name. I know I've heard some people say Alcantara, and then I've heard some people say Alcantara. So we'll see what it is. Sandy, to go out there and be your pitcher in the LA Dodgers uniform. They have the money to deal with it. Richie saying, looking way ahead, but Skeens will be a Dodger in 3 to 4 years. Richie, I got to ask you, are the Dodgers your team? Well, like, are the Dodgers your team? Because I'm a Yankees fan, and I'm of the mindset that Paul Skeens is going to wind up being a Yankee. Maybe not. We'll see. Like, it's fun to watch these two teams with just insane amounts of money betting up against each other. But the Dodgers right now have more money than the Yankees because of the TV deal, et cetera, et cetera. I would love to see Paul Skeens in a Yankees uniform. I would hate to see Paul Skeens in a Dodgers uniform. That would be absolutely insane. Rich is saying, thank God they are not. I love baseball to death, but never hung my hat on a team. I like that. I get that. I think I'm starting to lean that way as I get older in my fandom. I'm starting to get that way where I just root for the games, right? Like, that's how I am with college football. Like, you can see the Texas Tech flag there. You see the UTEP hat right here. I love both Texas Tech and UTEP, but I just also love watching good college football. And that's kind of what I root for now. And I've been that way with basketball during the playoffs. I want to watch good basketball. We're getting great basketball. I've been that way with the NFL. Obviously, the Dallas Cowboys aren't great, so I just want great games. I feel like my fandom with the Dallas Cowboys is going to be the only thing that won't allow me to cheer for the NFL because the Philadelphia Eagles have been good recently. Richie's saying he grew up a Yankees fan because of his dad, though. Steelers, Texas Tech, graduated in December. Spurs and Penguins. There we go. There we go. Wreckham Tech. I'm going to get my master's degree from Texas Tech here. I'm going through the process to see how we can get accepted into a master's program. Why am I taking on a master's program? Spurs, of course, I'll always give you some love for the Spurs. Go, Spurs, go. Can't wait to see what the Spurs do with the number 2 overall pick. Shohei Ohtani, though, pitching for the Dodgers. First time in 21 months since his second Tommy John surgery. That's the issue, right? They always say it's about want versus need. I would want Shohei Ohtani to pitch for me if I had the ability to, but I would want him to be at 100%. I would want him to be maybe further down the line when it comes to rehab, because we've seen all the rehab. It seems like it started just a month and a half ago. 6 weeks ago is whenever all this started coming out that Shohei might pitch again. But they're doing it out of necessity. The Dodgers are doing it out of necessity because they realize that you have a unicorn in Shohei Ohtani, that you need to get a couple of wins out of him, because right now the pitching rotation that you have is terrible. Terrible. Richie's saying, I feel like we won't see him on the mound for a bit after today. And that's the thing, right? Like I know he's going to start, and everything that I've been reading is that Shohei is maybe going to get an inning or two. An inning or two. Let's see how he is after a couple of innings. But I also feel like the Dodgers are going to be forced to, Richie, have Shohei Ohtani pitch more than just a inning or two per week, right? Like they're going to have to, because to me, that's how you're going to exhaust your bullpen. And your biggest issue is that you don't have arms right now. 14 pitchers on the IL. You're bringing up dudes from single A, double A to try to get guys out, and you're relying on that amazing offense that you have in LA. You need some pitching. You can't just exhaust your bullpen every time trying to get Shohei Ohtani an inning or two. Like eventually, in a couple of weeks, he's going to have to start eating up some innings. Like I don't think we'll see him twice a week. I think he'll be like a once a week pitcher. Every 6th day, he'll be like that spot starter kind of guy. But you want him to actually eat up some innings for you so you're not exhausting your bullpen. And we've seen it. Whenever Shohei's on, Shohei is one of the best in baseball, whether it's pitching or batting. When he's on, how's he going to be after pitching a couple of innings? Because you can pitch a simulated game without it being real game pressure, without the stressors and things like that you have to face in real game situations. What's the rehab going to be like? What's the recovery going to be like for Shohei Ohtani on that right elbow? Second time that it's been surgically repaired with Tommy John. What's it going to be like? I know Augustine doesn't want to see him out there, doesn't want to see Shohei Ohtani out there pitching. I do. As someone that loves baseball, I love seeing that we're watching modern day Babe Ruth. I'd rather him go out the way he wants to go out than see him go out with an injury. But if he's willing to say, I want to pitch, you have to allow him to pitch. You have to see what you've got. You're paying him $700 million. You're stuck to that no matter what. Whether or not he continues to play after this year or not, you are stuck to that contract. You married that contract over the next 20 years that you're going to be paying Shohei Ohtani. $700 million that you're going to be paying Shohei Ohtani. So if you're the Dodgers, you need to push him out there. But it just feels like they're tempting fate right now. It just feels like the LA Dodgers, might be in a little bit of trouble. They saw what happened. They saw Rafael Devers get sent from Boston over to San Francisco. San Francisco losing Kyle Harrison, Jordan Hicks, James Tibbs, and Jose Bayo. Richie saying he's trying to hit his own team's money line again. If that's what it takes, right? Like Shohei's like, I can't gamble anymore. I don't get the adrenaline rush from gambling anymore. Now I've got to find a way to get adrenaline. I got to get out there and pitch. I've said it once. I'll say it again. We all need a friend like Ippei Matsuhara. We all need a friend like Ippei that's willing to just bite the bullet for all of us. I bet Shohei's betting on himself. I need to quit being a jerk about that stuff. Trying to hit on his own team's money lines. That's a great joke, Richie. Thank you so much for that one, man. Thank you so much for that one. Boston sending out Rafael Devers to San Francisco. Obviously, San Francisco trying to make a run at the NL West. Trying to do something. Trying to minimize that gap. This is where we're going to see over the next 3 or 4 weeks. I'll say 3 weeks after the All-Star break, right after the All-Star break. This is where teams are going to be. We're going to start seeing the buying and selling of players, right? Looking at the division leaders right now, you got the Yankees, the Tigers, and the Astros in the AL. Then you got the Mets, the Cubs, and then the Dodgers. But look at how close this division is in the NL West. The Dodgers with a 2-game lead over the Giants, a 3-game lead over the Padres, and a 6.5-game lead over the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Dodgers play the Padres starting today, so that line can increase or that line can decrease. At the end of this series, it could wind up being the Dodgers, if they get swept by the Padres, just out, right? Like they can be tied. That whole lead can be gone. San Francisco can have a 1-game lead. That's how fickle a 3-game lead is in baseball. You can lose that in a week with just a bad week. The Diamondbacks 6.5 games back, still trying to recover. I got faith in the D-backs. I know my dude Danny Hoban's going to be real happy about that. Richie saying, all right, off to work. Before I go, which teams would you like to see in our game purely that you would want to see this December? Ooh, man. I'm always a sucker for like the Florida States and the Miamis. So we're going to get a team out of the ACC. Obviously, Florida State, Miami would be the way that I would want to go. Then out of the Pac-10, Pac-12, whatever's left of the pack. Man. That's going to be a tough one for me. I know I think this is the last year or one of the last years that the Sun Bowl can get a team like USC, right? Maybe you can clarify that for me, Richie. But if we can get like a Miami USC, that would be amazing, right? Like, and I'm not even a fan of either team. I just would love to see that matchup. I think that's what makes the Sun Bowl so much fun. Not just the venue is absolutely beautiful, but everything about the Sun Bowl makes it so much fun. You get that ACC where you can have a Miami versus USC one of these games. You can get Notre Dame like we got just a couple of years ago, which was a great game that we had, Oregon State versus Notre Dame just a couple of years ago. If it's up to me, I'm going to go big names. I'm going Miami. I'm going USC. Richie saying, yes, it's potentially the last year we can dip into the Pac-12 legacy schools. I'd love USC as well. And then, of course, me being me, because I was born on Michael Jordan's birthday and Michael Jordan's rookie year, if we were able to get North Carolina, I'd be happy. I love that Carolina blue. It would give me a reason to wear all of my Carolina stuff that I've got because I am a nerd at the end of the day. But, I mean, if we're going to go, like, what matchup I would want, Florida State or Miami, because those are the bigger name schools. versus USC. I'll always take USC because there's such a big name that surrounds USC. Also reminds me of a couple years back whenever USC played Georgia Tech. There were some players on USC that said negative things about El Paso. Look, only we that are from El Paso can talk bad about El Paso. You talk bad about El Paso when you're not from here, it galvanizes us. We show up. And I remember that Georgia Tech game, and I'm sitting up in the stands, and USC brings that big, enormous band of theirs out, and they're playing their fight song, and it gets drowned out by 54,000 people booing. The first time I had ever heard a band that size get drowned out because of booing. And I feel like USC is always going to bring an audience. USC, Miami. USC, Florida State. That's what I would want to see, Richie. I appreciate you giving me that information as well. I'm going to be keeping up on the Sun Bowl game. Maybe we can have you come on too. Maybe you can talk about the Sun Bowl with us. I've had Bernie on the show before. I've had Eddie on the show before. I know Eddie's not there anymore. But I've had Bernie, a couple of other people. You want to get on the show, talk Sun Bowl, you can get on the show, talk Sun Bowl with us, Richie. Just give me tickets I can give away, and I'll be a happy guy. Also, if you have a commercial, I'll play the commercial. I'm cool with that too. Well, thank you for supporting Richie. Remember, every day, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m., we are live right here on the Tipping Point with Mike Tipton. I am on the news list, which always makes me a happy guy. Anytime I get the emails from you, I'm always a happy guy. Monday through Friday, right here live on the Tipping Point with Mike Tipton. We are on Facebook, on YouTube, on Roku with National Streaming Sports. Earlier today, you had the Mac and Jack show. Our girl Sonia Pearson was on there. Obviously, you had TGI Sports with Keith Engel that led into today's show, Coast to Coast with Bo Crouch. Obviously, my dude B. Strilla tuning in right now, saying, what up, Doe Tip? Hope that you are doing good, B. Check out B's new show that he has with Sonia Pearson, No BS, every Thursday, 4 o'clock here in El Paso. At least I think it's 4 o'clock. I might have my times messed up. I'm thinking it's 6 Eastern is what I'm going off of. So let me know if I got that right, B. Strilla. You got to check out all the shows. Support the people that support this. I love seeing the audience. We're growing. We got new people tuning in. We got old people tuning in, giving us opinions on Shohei Ohtani, doing all that stuff. 8 p.m. Eastern. So that's going to be 6 o'clock here in El Paso. My bad. 6 o'clock here in El Paso. 8 p.m. Eastern. The No BS show with my dude B. Strilla and Sonia Pearson. We got to come up with a nickname for Sonia. Other than hating ass hater, because she always hates on the Dallas Cowboys. I can go like a full week without talking about the Dallas Cowboys. But the second I get on to the National Streaming Sports platform, someone brings up the Dallas Cowboys. America's team, baby. America's team. You already know how it is. It's the one thing that people seem that they just can't live without is talking about the Dallas Cowboys. The other thing people can't live without is just a tip.
I just want to put the tip in.
It's time for
Just a Tip.
That would make me uncomfortable.
Promise that it ain't too much, but just enough. Just a tip. Just a tip.
Just the tip? Just the tip.
It's time for Just the Tip.
Just the Tip is brought to you by www.myhappynuts.com. Visit www.myhappynuts.com. Use promo code Mike Tipton at checkout. Save on all your male grooming needs. Guys, the summer is here. In El Paso yesterday, it was 105 degrees. You were getting swampy on Father's Day. The last thing you want to be is uncomfortable on Father's Day, hanging out on the couch. So what do? You go get that comfort cream, rub them on your nuts to make them as happy as mine are, and then you ain't got to worry about sticking or chafing or anything else of that nature. www.myhappynuts.com. Use promo code Mike Tipton at checkout and save on all of your male grooming needs. It's always funny doing this show because you don't see what I get to see right there in the doorway is my 7-year-old son listening to me do a promo for www.myhappynuts.com, making just direct eye contact. There's few times where I feel like I should be shamed. I feel like I should be ashamed right there, right? Like my 7-year-old watching me as I talk about myhappynuts.com. Great product, by the way. Also, I want to give a shout out to our friends over at flashshark.com, flashsharkracing.com. I'm going to be putting up a video. They gave me some new headlights. I was upgrading the lights on my Mustang. Next, we're going to be upgrading the brakes on my Mustang. B. Strilla said, I was asked if that messes up a woman's pH balance. It does not. At least from the times I've used it. It does not. Again, it's just a cream. It's kind of like, so what it is, it's kind of like Gold Bond, right? Like you're putting Gold Bond down on your boys. You got the lotion, spread it on, let it dry. It becomes a powder. And you're nice and fresh for the remainder of the day. Literally what I do, first thing in the morning, take a shower, get out of the shower, dry off, add on the My Happy Nuts comfort cream, and I'm good for the rest of the day. I don't got to worry about sticking a leg out. If you're a guy, you know exactly what that is. You're walking, you got to stick a leg out. Don't got to worry about any of that stuff. Just nice and fresh. I've never had any issues, but I will tell you this much, Strilla. I will find out. I'm saying no because I haven't had any issues with it. But I will find out for you if it messes up a woman's pH balance. I don't think it does. But that is a very good question. A very good question. Augustine, I know you don't know what that means. I'm not going to explain it to you. I would need to draw it up. The NBA Finals, huh? There was no transition, guys. It was just going to be that way. The NBA Finals, they are underway. The series is tied right now, 2 games apiece. Indiana and OKC. If you haven't been in on this, I don't want your goofy ass watching no more. If you haven't watched the first 4 games, you don't get to watch the next 3 games. If we get 3 games, we're guaranteed 6. The way this series is going, you should expect it to go 7. None of us. I got to give credit where credit is due. Our dude J-Train, you can check him out whenever we're doing the Wednesday professional sports show. J-Train was the only one that said this is going to go a 7-game series. Everyone else, myself included, I thought OKC was going to win this in 6. I even said 5, and the only reason why I said 6 is because Indy, I thought they would just get a game here or there. They would get that mercy game. Indy's good, guys. Indiana is really good. OKC is really good. If you haven't been watching this, you don't deserve to watch good basketball. This has been great, fun, drama. Every single game except for game 2 has been a close game. The series now, a 3-game series. Augustine, this is exactly what we were talking about. You want a 3-game series? We have ourselves a 3-game series. The next team that wins 2 games is going to be your NBA champion. 2 of the 3 games are going to be in Oklahoma City. They got home court advantage back all over again. This has been a fun NBA Finals. It's been a while, a long while, since I can sit back and genuinely say that I've enjoyed watching the NBA Finals. And this NBA Finals has been just that for me. Augustine saying the NBA champion will be Indiana. It's still so early for that. Augustine, I didn't get back to you on Friday. I was a little busy on Friday getting set up for the pillow fight. But Augustine in the first quarter is like, man, is Indy going to win this game? And I'm like, it's so early. It's so early. But even in the fourth quarter, Indiana's down by like 5. I'm like, there's still a chance Indiana's going to win this game. They've earned that. They have earned that respect out of us. Tommy Cananza saying, I'm not watching. I decided I wasn't watching the NBA since Luka was traded. I'll be back next season, though. I appreciate that. I appreciate you being honest and open with it. Shout out to Suzanne Woodruff, Andrew Mendoza, and Valerie Estrada who tuned in over on the Facebook page. I appreciate that. I don't blame you. Not like I feel like I'd be the same way. And I kind of was the same way. If it wasn't for the fact that I have to do this every day, that I want to do this every day and be as informed as I possibly can, I don't know how much of the NBA Finals I would be watching, especially after Wembanyama got hurt. You know how hard it was to care about a Spurs game after Wembanyama and De'Aaron Fox got hurt, after being as high as I possibly was because of trade deadline, we actually got De'Aaron Fox. Wemby gets hurt at the All-Star break. The rest of my give a damn for the season was done. So I'm with you. I get you. If it wasn't for me having to do this stuff, wanting to do this stuff, I don't think I would be watching the NBA Finals right now. But I'm glad that I am. I am so glad that I am. And Tommy, I know that you're staying up to date with us, getting to see like just how great this is. But you're missing out. If you're not watching the games, you're missing out. It's been fun. Watch tonight be an absolute ass kicking. I'm talking about how fun it's been. Watch this game be a 40-point blowout. OKC is favored by 9.5 points. I don't see that much of a spread between these two teams. I genuinely don't. I don't know what you got to be drinking, what you got to be smoking to think that 9.5 points is a good spread here, that Indiana can't cover 9.5-point spread. Tommy Canassa saying, I stand on business, Mike. I know it's spelled business, but I know what you're talking about, Tommy. We're standing on business right now, man. Luka got traded. Tommy's entire mindset towards basketball got traded along with it. I remember thinking to myself, the day that trade happened, how it was going to impact me. And my friendships and the people that support the show. I thought I lost Tommy for the entire season. But we'll get him back next season. I'm looking forward to that, Tommy. I'm looking forward to you contributing all of your vast Dallas Mavericks knowledge next season, whenever the Mavs are back into the playoffs. I do love hearing all the rumors, though, about where Kevin Durant's going to go. It started off with Dallas. There was talk about it being San Antonio. Now the talk is about it being Houston. Shout out to Amber Banda, who tuned in right now. She was also at the pillow fight with the Guardians of the Children. Great match that Riggs and Crom from Guardians of the Children put on. Love the choreography. There's going to be a picture in my phone that I'm going to have a hard time explaining. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go log on to my Instagram. Go through my stories. I had a story dump from the pillow fight. Amber was there on behalf of 96.3 K-Hey Country. And, of course, the Guardians of the Children. Tommy Canazza saying, if the Mavericks do not draft Cooper Flagg, I am done forever with the Mavs. Will you be a Spurs fan? I will welcome you to the San Antonio Spurs with open arms. Because if the Mavericks don't draft Cooper Flagg, they did something wrong, and the San Antonio Spurs would draft Cooper Flagg. And then can you imagine Stephon Castle, reigning Rookie of the Year, Victor Wembanyama, former Rookie of the Year, with Cooper Flagg, the future for the Dallas Cowboys. Or the Dallas Cowboys, wow. The future of the San Antonio Spurs would be amazing. Absolutely amazing. Tommy Canassa saying, hell no, he wouldn't do it. Amber Bonda saying the biggest fighting event of the year. Hands down. Hands down. The biggest fighting event of the year. Once again, if you didn't get to tune in earlier at the show, we had a fundraiser. The Buzzed podcast here in El Paso had a fundraiser for the El Paso Jazz Exchange. Music is a place where kids can go that creates memories, that creates an escape, that can be a home away from home. That's what music is. We were able to fundraise $2,300 for the Jazz Exchange here in El Paso by simply putting together a pillow fight. And an absolute fun time. Shout out to the Guardians of the Children who went out there, supported the Soggy Peso, who allowed us to be out there. It was a fun time, a great time out there. Augustine saying, by the way, the Spurs are the Spurs on the way down because of the change in coaching? It's happened to many teams that their legendary coach retires. So Augustine asking if the San Antonio Spurs are going to be on a downslide now that Greg Popovich has retired. I think the Spurs, if there's an organization that's out there, and Tommy, you're probably going to hate on this, but if there's an organization that's out there that can withstand losing someone like Greg Popovich, it's the San Antonio Spurs, because you're not losing him completely. He's still going to be there, right? Like that whole culture is going to be there. People talk about the Miami Heat and the Miami Heat culture and stuff like that, and Pat Riley and blah, 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 blah. There is a real culture in San Antonio. You've seen it whenever you got guys that are problem athletes. The San Antonio Spurs find a way. Maybe it's because as far as markets go, San Antonio is not as fun as Dallas or Brooklyn or LA or Houston or any of that other stuff. San Antonio just kind of flies under the radar. The San Antonio Spurs have a culture there that I think is stronger than just the head coach. They've built it all in. And I wouldn't be surprised if I see Johnson wind up being a really good head coach for the San Antonio Spurs, a long-term head coach for the San Antonio Spurs. You're going off of 30 years almost of Greg Popovich. That's enough time to establish and build a culture, to build something around there. I think the Spurs will be all right. Tommy's saying he agrees with that mindset as well. Augustine trying to get me heated, saying Wemby is going to want to go to LA. I don't think so. I genuinely don't think that Wembanyama is going to want to go to LA. If you saw the way that this kid is, I don't think he's an LA kind of guy. But he doesn't seem that way. Would I be surprised if he goes to LA as a free agent? Probably not. I don't think there'll be a trade scenario there where he goes to LA. But even look at just last week. Last week, Victor Wembanyama going to China to go learn the ways of the monk, to help get his mind right and his body right. Sorry about that. It's Mitch Johnson. Mitch Johnson, Augustine, is the head coach of the San Antonio Spurs. He's been with the Spurs for 5 or 6 years. He was their interim head coach during the time frame that Greg Popovich was out. You can say who all you want. The guy, he's been in the clubhouse with San Antonio for a while. So again, the culture is still going to be there. Just because you don't know who the guy is doesn't mean that the team doesn't know who the guy is. That's what the most important part is, right? You're continuing that culture in San Antonio. It's crazy how I went from talking about the NBA Finals to talking about the San Antonio Spurs. Spurs aren't anywhere near the finals. Augustine saying it's not like Duke where you have someone that has a direct Mike K connection. He was an assistant coach on the San Antonio Spurs under Greg Popovich for the better part of a decade. How is that not a connection directly to the coach? You're drunk. You must be drunk. You're saying you can continue the culture all you want, but it's not Pop. Simple. Popovich is still going to be in the building. He's still going to be the president of the team. He's going to be the one building the roster. I don't get where you're coming at with this. The Spurs will be all right. Augustine saying, I just don't see it. You got to give the guy a chance. San Antonio this year, given all that they had to go through, the fact that they were one of the last teams out of the play-in, like the playoffs, that seems like he was doing a pretty damn good coaching job. This team plays for Mitch Johnson. Obviously, a lot of that is because it's built by Popovich, but Popovich is still going to be there. I would have loved to have seen Becky Hammon as a San Antonio Spurs head coach, their next head coach. I would have loved to have seen Becky Hammon on the sidelines in the NBA. Pop held on. Pop did what Pop needed to do. Becky Hammon, a 3-time champion now in the WNBA. But I would have loved to have seen a scenario where the San Antonio Spurs could have gotten Becky Hammon. She played in San Antonio for the Silver Stars before they became the Aces. She was a coach in San Antonio for a while. But, I mean, Mitch Johnson's been in San Antonio. Augustine saying, come on, Tip. Pop is no longer all there. Pop's not there anymore. He's not there. He's no longer there. It's still the San Antonio Spurs organization. Like their organization is so well ran that I think it takes more than just a person. One singular individual doesn't make the entire culture of the San Antonio Spurs. If that were the case, they'd have not had some of the problems that they had, like losing Kawhi Leonard, losing things like that. Like there's some things there with the San Antonio Spurs that you don't have with a bunch of other teams. I think, I'm not saying they're going to be a championship contending team next year. I really don't think they're going to be a championship contending team. But I think they're making the right steps up, right? Like, they drafted Wembanyama, they got Castle, they have a deep team there. They have the building blocks to get better. That's all you want from your team. I don't think San Antonio, anybody would say San Antonio is a championship contending team. Maybe if they got Giannis, maybe that's when things change. Even if they get Kevin Durant, I don't look at Kevin Durant as being the missing piece in San Antonio to get them a championship. I really don't. It would be wild to try to guard that team. Kevin Durant being like your small forward again, Victor Wembanyama, like, how do you guard that team? The organization is Pop. He put the culture there. I agree with that 100%. But you have to have, out of the 30 years that Greg Popovich has been in San Antonio, there has to be people there in place to keep that organization going. You got R.C. Buford still there. Popovich is still going to be there. Mitch Johnson is a Popovich coach, right? Like, I don't see what the issue is. And like, we can talk about coaching tree all we want. Greg Popovich's coaching tree has been extremely successful. Extremely successful. You got Steve Kerr, you got Mike Budenholzer, Mike Brown. Like, there's a lot that you've seen of successful coaches. Ime Udoka, right? Like, there's a lot of successful coaches out of the Greg Popovich coaching tree that I wouldn't bet against Mitch Johnson. Well, like, Popovich doesn't just hire guys that are like not good at what they do, and he puts them in a position to succeed and gives them the ability to take that culture other places. Let's not forget, the Golden State Warriors basically ran what the San Antonio Spurs did, but with better athletes. That whole run is based off of the Spurs organization. And maybe that's just me saying it as a Spurs fan, as someone that looks at it from that side out. But Steve Kerr goes into Golden State with the culture he learned in San Antonio, changes the culture in Golden State, and now we're talking about them as one of the greatest dynasties we've ever seen. Giannis Antetokounmpo wins a championship with Mike Budenholzer as his coach. Budenholzer shouldn't have been fired. That's just Milwaukee being whatever Milwaukee was doing. Mike Brown, multiple-time champion, Cleveland and LA, right? Like they've won championships. The Greg Popovich coaching tree has shown you success. It's not like the Belichick coaching tree where you got Matt Patricia as one of the guys that's on, Rex Ryan as one of the guys that's on there. You have real sustained success, championship level success. I'm not saying the San Antonio Spurs are going to win a championship, but I'm also not going to say that in the span of March until November, the entire culture that was built up over 30 years is going to disintegrate because Greg Popovich is still in the building, just not as the head coach. I don't think it's going to happen that way. Like there's so much there in San Antonio. There's such a well-ran franchise. Like every basketball team out there should strive to be ran the way the San Antonio Spurs have been ran over the last 30 years. Like, you would take that. You would take 5 championships over 30 years. Who wouldn't? And that's what the San Antonio Spurs have done. I can't see a scenario there, Augustine. I can't. I cannot see a scenario there where in the blink of an eye, the entire organization falls apart. If it does, then that means Greg Popovich is the greatest human being of all time. There needs to be churches, basilicas dedicated to the legacy of Greg Popovich. If everything the San Antonio Spurs put together in 30 years falls apart within a couple of months of him no longer being the head coach. Also in the NBA right now, the Memphis Grizzlies send Desmond Bane to the Orlando Magic. The Grizzlies will receive Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Cole Anthony, four unprotected first-round picks, and then they have a pick swap with the Orlando Magic. Desmond Bane is not that guy. It just makes me wonder what the hell Giannis Antetokounmpo is going to get if he does indeed get traded, because that is a wild, you get two players that are really good players on a team that made it to the playoffs. Now, obviously, they weren't great enough to make a deep run in the playoffs, but they were a fun team to watch, was Orlando. And they're giving up 4 first-round picks for Desmond Bane? I wonder if anyone here, if I put up a picture of Desmond Bane, would know that that's a picture of Desmond Bane. He's an okay player. He's not 4 first-round unprotected first-round picks. Good. He's not 2 players. Good. So you're losing out on 2 players and 4 first-round picks and then swapping out picks in the future? I get it. Like Memphis, to me, Memphis isn't going to be a great team down the road. I don't see this changing the fortune of either franchise, except for the fact that you gave up so much draft capital for Desmond Bane. I feel like you could have given that up and gotten Giannis Antetokounmpo. And Giannis wants to play in Florida. He wants to play in a state that doesn't have a state luxury tax. You could have gotten Kevin Durant for that as well, and probably less. Instead, you got Desmond Bane. Well, like that's going to be the thing that changes your fortunes. Desmond Bane being out there is going to be the thing that changes the trajectory of the Orlando Magic. It's a weird trade for me if I'm Orlando. I want to see if there's anything else added on to that, because if it's just Desmond Bane, yeah, that's all it is. It's just Desmond Bane. You traded 4 first-round draft picks and 2 players for 19 points a game for the 37th leading scorer in the NBA this year, the 47th rebounder in the NBA this year. You traded 4 first-round draft picks, unprotected first-round draft picks. So if you get the number 1 overall pick because you have a terrible season one year, because you can with Desmond Bane, you have to trade that pick to the Memphis Grizzlies for the 37th leading scorer in the NBA? That's wild to me, man. That's insane. Let's look and see. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Let's see what his was. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope had 9 points a game. Cole Anthony, Greg Anthony's son, 9 points a game. So you basically traded 2 guys to get the same guy. You got the exact same player. One guy that's doing what these 2 guys are doing. And you traded 4 first-round picks for it. When Giannis Antetokounmpo and Kevin Durant are out there, Kevin Durant being on the Magic would give them a scoring option that they can have. Does it make them a championship contending team? Probably not. But neither does Desmond effing Bane. Giannis Antetokounmpo's out there. You get Giannis, you're automatically a championship contending team. I do not understand or grasp the need of this trade from the Orlando Magic standpoint. It is a wild trade. So Memphis gets the number 16 overall pick in the 2025 NBA draft, a 2026 first-round draft pick, which includes swap rights with the Phoenix Suns or Washington Wizards, a 2028 and 2030 first-round pick. So the fact that you have a pick swap with the Washington Wizards that are going to be a terrible team, you're giving the Memphis Grizzlies a top 5 pick, a lottery pick at best, but you're giving the Grizzlies one of the best picks that you can get in the 2026 draft because the Wizards are going to be bad and the Phoenix Suns are going to be bad. And you're just allowing the Grizzlies to say, yeah, we'll take one of those picks. Whichever one of those picks is better is what we're going to do. And all you got in return was Desmond Bane, the 37th leading scorer in the NBA this season. 19.2 points a game, 6.1 rebounds a game. Like, that's going to change the trajectory of this organization. I'm not even an Orlando Magic fan, and I'm pissed off at this trade. What a bad trade. It just shows you what it's going to take to get Giannis. Mikal Bridges goes out there and gets 5 first-round picks. Desmond Bane is going to get you 4 first-round picks and 2 players. Tommy's saying that's more than the Mavs got for Luka. How does Luka get less than Desmond Bane? That just showed I'm back on the bandwagon. It's time to fire Nico Harrison. It's time to fire everyone associated with the Dallas Mavericks. The fact that Desmond Bane can get you 4 first-round picks. What the hell were the Mavs doing? I'm not, you know what? Usa. Maybe I'm looking at it as a Spurs fan because the Spurs might trade for Giannis. What are the Spurs going to have to give up now to get Giannis Antetokounmpo? That is insane to me. 4 first-round picks for Desmond Bane. It'll be all right. We'll be okay. All right, everybody, I want to thank you so much for being a part of today's show. Remember, on Tuesday, we're going to be breaking down the divisions in the NFL. 2 weeks ago, we did the AFC North. Last week, or we did the AFC East. Last week, we did the AFC North. This week, we're going to be doing the AFC West. Who is going to be the cream of the crop out of the AFC West? Is it going to be Denver? Is it going to be Kansas City? They're going to take a big step back. What are the Raiders going to look like? What are the Chargers going to look like? We're going to break that down tomorrow on tomorrow's Tipping Point with Mike Tipton. We will see you all then. Have yourself a great Monday. I was going to say afternoon, but it's still morning. Just have a great Monday.